Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. And for the censors out there, we at the New Health Conversation pride ourselves on only quoting from peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Nothing that we talk about, nothing that we state is not in the public domain, so nothing is a claim. Everything is backed up, everything is safe, 100%. We've written for the biggest medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on public broadcasting, over 1,500 live lectures around the world. So we pride ourselves on only accurate and complete substantiated information. Nothing that we talk about, nothing that we do is our opinion, okay? So again, imagine losing 20 to 30 pounds in a month, 20, 30, or 40 pounds in a month. We're going to show you the proof here in just a moment. And everything that we talk about, everything we do is backed by peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. This is not a diet. No one was allowed to exercise. It's not about counting calories. It's a detox. It's the first one that's ever been medically substantiated and proven, and it's very easy to do. So again, anybody that's coming on, imagine losing 20, 30, or even 40 pounds safely in 30 days. It's a revolution, new weight loss protocol. It makes every diet out there obsolete. It's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. And although it's weight loss, it is actually created because it's not a diet. It's actually created because it's a detox. And everybody in the world, in case you didn't know it, we're breathing, drinking, eating chemicals. Evidenced by the studies that came out about 3 months ago saying they're finding microplastics in our brains and in our coronary arteries. But what else they found inside of us, inside our fat cells, are herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon. No diet that you're on, I don't care what diet you think it is, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, none of these diets have any real medical impact on your body, especially removing chemicals, especially removing toxins from your body. The main reason to do this is not just because you could lose 20, 30, or 40 pounds safely in 30 days, but it's the detox properties of this that were proven through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. This protocol, the least important reason to do it is weight loss. Now, you'll think that I'm crazy when I tell you that. But no, it actually is. This is about maximizing your quality of life, your health potential. This is a health system. The fact that it has this unbelievable side effect of this tremendous amount of weight loss, I know that's going to excite a lot of you because we know that right now in 4 years, Johns Hopkins Medical School predicts that 86% of you will be overweight or obese in 4 years. Did you know, for example, that Penny, yes, that's right, the New Health Conversation, but Penny, no spaces, if you want to Google it, that'll take you to my TikTok site at the New Health Conversation. You'll notice right above her head there in blue, proof at the New Health Conversation. That's the free medical website you can go. There's nothing on that website to buy. The only thing there is the medical proof. Now, before you think this is some fake headline or we faked it, we're going to show you actually people from these medical studies. Now, what I want to tell you right away is this was invented not by us, but by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. There are no products to buy. So don't think there's some pitch here for an Alexa or Basically, this is food, but it's a completely new approach. Only about 30% of the food that you would consume on this, even if it's organic, would come from your grocery store. The other 70% of the food you'll learn about comes from these exotic locations around the world in places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand that represent huge amounts of nutrition but smaller quantities of food. This whole thing is based not on counting calories. There's no calorie counting. Do you know why? Because the human body has no idea what a calorie is. You've all been duped. We've all been duped. It's a complete myth. There's calories in, calories out. It's total nonsense. Even I've got in my hand Harvard Medical School, Stop Counting Calories. That's Harvard Medical School. They went on to say, we've all been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500, you lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. That's Harvard Medical School, Stop Counting Calories. That's what these researchers determined. They had done 100 studies over 40 years of thousands of people on every kind of diet out there. They never found a diet, any diet, where people lost weight and kept it off long term. Oh, they're not arguing that you can lose weight on any of these diets initially. Why do you think it is that in 1964, about 15% of the population was overweight or obese, and now in 4 years, they're saying that 86% of you are going to be overweight and obese. It's completely out of control. And yet we have more diets than we've ever had before. We have more advice. You've got fitness trainers, you've got celebrities, you've got athletes, you've got all these people giving you all these things. If we're talking about 86% of the population being overweight or obese, and by the way, 50% of those will be pre-diabetic in 4 years. If any of these diets work, just ask yourself this question. Forget me for a moment. If any of those diets worked, any of them, I don't care what name you want to put to it, they'd have $1 trillion company. None of them work. All they keep doing is rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. I don't care what diet you think you're on. At the end of the day, you're getting less food. But the problem with that, it's not about getting less food. The only thing your body cares about is nutrition. It doesn't give a damn about a calorie because it doesn't even know what calories are. And yet you're all hoodwinked. You're all brainwashed. Calories in, calories out. It doesn't work. Do you all get that? It's not about energy deficiency. It's not about thermodynamics. It's all nonsense. And how come all these followers, and I know you're following, right? How come they don't have one shred of medical evidence? This protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Now, before I explain it to you, I'm going to show you 20, 30, 40 pounds in a month. You're going to think it's Photoshop. It's not Photoshop. This is from the medical studies. Let's start with Kristen first. 21 pounds, 38 inches in just, so we've showed you 20 pounds in a month. Now we're showing you actually 30 or 35 pounds in 37 days. And then wait till you see this. This is a 65-year-old man, 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in 30 days. But look at his blood work. Look at his lab work. A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242 to 124. Do you know diabetics in this? There were no insulin spikes. Do you know that the need for insulin with the diabetics like him came down 41% in 30 days? Now, that's not some claim we're making. It's published in these medical journals. You see the actual proof. There's nothing to buy here. We're not selling you anything. We're educating you, and for goodness sake, I hope you'll hang around for a couple more minutes just to find out how they did it. But you also have the option, any of you, to go right there, visit the new, right above our head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website for you to go and see the medical proof. Why would you think that keto or paleo or Mediterranean or carnivore or Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or Nutrisystem or Noom or Cornish Zone, lose weight for your blood type, why would you think any of those work? Are you blind to the fact that, go to the mall, go to any of the big stores or your supermarket, or if you're on vacation, you're lucky enough this last week, go to the beach. Look at where the world is. Do you know right now, worldwide, there are 2.5 billion people overweight, and 1 billion of those are clinically obese. Now, you may be shocked by this, or you may think this guy's full of it. No, I'm a researcher. Listen, let me introduce myself. Not that it matters, but it's important. I'm not just some guy. My name is Peter Greenlaw. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've worked with some of the top oncologists, molecular biologists, geneticists, nutraceutical chemists in the world. I wrote 4 best-selling books with some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I did 20 shows on public broadcasting, over 1,500 live lectures in universities and hospitals. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago, one of the largest autism conferences in the world, 2 years in a row. That doesn't mean anything. For my 23 years, to be honest with you, the medical community, it was nice, it was interesting, but there were no published peer-reviewed human trial studies until now. They're not my studies. I didn't do it. But these studies validated what I've been talking about for 22 years. Anecdotally. See, that's your problem now. You're following all these people with this anecdotal evidence. Oh, lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. That's a lie. There's no such thing as burning fat with a diet or exercise. You're born with a certain number of fat cells. You die with a certain number of fat cells, and they expand or contract over your lifetime. So get that out of your nose. Out of your vocabulary. And what about calorie counting? Can anybody even give me the definition of a calorie? Do you know the medical definition of a calorie? I've done over 1,000 of these podcasts now in about the last 12 months. So I do 3 or 4 days, 7 days a week. You do the math. I've had 12 people give me the definition of what a calorie is. Or what is it really? It's not a real thing. Your body can't count calories. It doesn't know what calories are. It doesn't give a damn about a calorie. But we've all been told that, and that's what you're doing. You're all counting calories. Calories in, calories out, that's the way to lose weight. No, it's not. It's nonsense. Here's Medicare. And then I promise I'm going to explain to you exactly what they did. This is the last piece of scientific data I want to show you. The fallacy of thinking that somehow any of these diets in the long, hello Sandy, Pack, I see you over there. But let me read to you from these big studies. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's the title. They went on to say, our researchers at Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies show that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's Medicare telling you 2/3 of you are going to weigh more than what you did when you started. Now, that may make you mad. No one, hi. Right, Sandy's Pack. I said, oh, wow, he's actually live. Cool, Sandy's Pack. Yeah, this is live. This is not pre-recorded, everybody. It's 5:49 in the morning here in Denver, Colorado, where I'm conducting 3 or 4 of these podcasts a day for all of you to learn. By the way, let me explain something to you. I didn't invent this. Okay, I'm a nutritional researcher for 23 years. What's our job is to make you aware of what's available. We don't expect you to go through all the medical journals and all the hoopla that we have to go through. We do it gladly. We all got coached. This saved my life. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I had some life-threatening health challenges. This saved my life. It's not a diet. This is a detox, okay? Now let's talk about how did they do it. Yes, Lake Life, we're in violent agreement. Violent agreement. By the way, to give you a new definition, it's not a healthcare system. It's a sick care system. Do you know, all of you, do you realize how crazy this is? We're meant to be healthy. It's not some abnormal condition that you're trying to get back to with drugs and whatever. Thank God we have the drugs. I mean, are you kidding me? We have 92% of you are metabolically unhealthy. That probably shocks you. You don't even understand probably what that means. It means if you have 3 of these 5 factors, and by the way, if you're on a drug to treat what I'm going to tell you, you still have the condition. So if you're either overweight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, you're considered metabolically unhealthy. 92% according to the Center for Disease Control. Well, out of $4.5 trillion healthcare, sick care, right? $1.5 trillion is metabolic, what they call it, metabolic dysfunction. It's a lifestyle disease. It's a lifestyle disease. We're in huge trouble. They estimate in 4 years that 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese and 50% of you will be pre-diabetic. What do you think you're doing? It's not up to me. I have nothing to do with it. We're providing you the medical proof right there. Visit the New Health Conversation. It's free for you to go to. Free. How much is it? 0, 0, 0, 0. Yeah, I get really passionate. I get really excited. We're doing something. We're really making a difference. And I don't want to disparage anybody that I see on social media, but I would say this to you. Why are you following people that have no medical proof, including medical doctors and chiropractors and dietitians and nutritionists and health coaches and weight loss coaches and workout people? They all mean well, but they're wrong. I mean, how would any of you like to argue the point? If in 4 years, Johns Hopkins Medical School, the actual, what they said, the headline is, obesity apocalypse. In 4 years, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. They went forward and said in 23 years, they estimate 100% of Americans will be overweight or obese. Do we have to get there before we say, what the hell are we doing? Diets don't work. Do you get it? They don't work. Unless you think that's a good statistic. Please pay attention. This could change the rest of your life. This is a health system. Oh, the side benefit is weight loss, but that's down the road from the medical improvements that we have medical proof, and they're published in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world. Who else is showing you that? They're wearing a hat and writing, oh, let's get some recipes. And then you get a coach. Recipes? What the hell is that going to help you with? Recipes or paleo or keto, or I don't care what the diet is. Medicare just told you 2/3 of you are going to gain more weight than you lost on any diet. Is it time for a new day? Can we start a new day today right now or not? We have nothing to sell. I'm not making a product pitch. There's no products. You're going to get food. and a new way of eating, a new way of consuming food. I'm serious. I'm going to explain it to you right now. Okay, so everybody got, right, I'm going to tell you right now, 262 different names for sugar. And why do we need this many names? Exactly, Lake Lil. Okay, so Aaron, Lake Lil, everybody, listen carefully now, right? So, by the way, we had nothing to do with creating this. And there were no products to buy. Put your guard down for a moment. Just suspend your skepticism for about 3 minutes while I explain this to you. Then you can go back to being skeptical if that's what you want to do. To your own detriment, by the way. So the researchers had said they did 100 studies. Thousands of people over 40 years. These are rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. Not some, person giving you an opinion on, do keto. Nonsense. Just nonsense. Yeah, I get too emotional, I guess, sometimes, and people get mad, or I turn them off and they leave to their detriment. Because we have nothing to sell. We're going to coach you for free if you decide to do it. It says right there, free coaching. So how did she do this? What did they do? Well, they determined, the researchers, after 40 years, 100 studied thousands of people, that no diet they ever analyzed ever worked long term. And they said the fallacy was that all these diets at the end of the day were some form of cutting the amount of calories or reducing the amount of food you were consuming. Well, what they all left out on all these diets was you're alive because of 3 things: air, water, not calories, nutrition. So the focus here was, okay, can we believe we can find foods that, although maybe you'll eat less by quantity, that doesn't matter. What matters, can we give you more nutrition than you need to run? See, the problem with not going on a diet and reducing the amount of food you're consuming, you're also reducing the amount of nutrition. Does that make sense to everybody? When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition fuel to run the brain, kidney, all your organs run on nutrition. They don't run on calories. The hell are you counting calories for? Your body's going, what's a calorie? Where's the nutrition? So when you go on a diet and reduce the quantity of food you're consuming, you're also reducing the amount of nutrition. So the research said, no, that's not going to work. We're going to pick foods with high levels of nutrition. So only 30% of what you would buy, take whatever you spent last month, take 30% of those dollars. You're going to go to the grocery store, if you choose, and you're going to get a list from the researchers developed a list: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of calorie amounts, no calorie counting, only serving sizes. They calculated how much nutrition would each of these, like if it was, let's say, protein, how many ounces? Well, but they picked, for example, like if it's steak or hamburger, it's not just regular steak or hamburger. You need grass-fed, finished. It's all laid out for you. You get it for free. There's no guesswork. Like, here's my list. Okay, if it's a vegetable, a half a cup, a third a cup. But you're only going to buy 30% of what you spent last month at the grocery store. You're buying for the whole month. What about the other 70%? I'm going to be starving to death. No, you're not. The other 70% came not from your grocery store, not from us, or from the researchers. They came from other researchers who'd gone for 20 years around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, Bangladesh, etc., to find basically huge amounts of nutrition in smaller quantities of food. So that was what they started with. 30% of the food from your grocery store, you'd get a list, and 70% from these exotic foods around the world, which they call, let's make it simple, they call them the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. They said, the research, they're the top weight loss research physiologists in the world. They said, look, unless someone's on a prescription for iron deficiency or calcium deficiency, those world's most perfect food, you don't need any other supplements. You don't need it. Some of these nutrients are coming from these areas in the world, you've heard of it, called blue zones, where people living to be 100 years old. I want to take some of that. I don't know about you, right? So now they had the foods. Now here's what made it work. They actually got a registered trade, the fact that the U.S. Patent Office recognized this new way of consuming food, they gave them a registered trademark. It's called protein pacing. What does that mean? 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with the world's most perfect meals for breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list that you would have, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from the world's most perfect meals. So 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store. Don't panic, okay? Only the world's most perfect meals, but this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half to 2 hours over the course of 12 to 16 hours. Now they tried other versions. Like skip breakfast and have lunch and dinner. Didn't work. Have breakfast and dinner. Didn't work. It was the 4 meals spread out. Now, this is only until you lose the weight, by the way, or she lost the weight, right? And what were the results? First of all, the diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. When do you hear the medical results? See, you should care. The number on the scale is the number. She lost 21 pounds in a month, and Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. And then the 65-year-old man, Curtis, 40 pounds in a month. In a month. I started out by saying, imagine losing 20, 30, or 40 pounds safely in 30 days. Those are the people that were in the studies that did it. The young woman there, the daughter of a friend of mine, she lost 60 pounds in 3 months. So she averaged 20 pounds a month. That's the other thing you want to understand. It's not some short-lived, quick, rapid, unsafe weight loss. No. And look, it's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Now let's come back. What was the medical proof? They did, the researchers. This was the most comprehensive. Now, they'd done 40 years of studies. Some of the things that they analyzed were able to prove that the technology to do that wasn't even available, let's say 8 or 10 years ago. They proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. This was removing chemicals from the body. Unless you don't think so, you're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals, and you're storing them inside your fat cells. I don't care if you think you're in shape or not, because not everybody does it show up on the outside. But most people are complaining to us about how much, not just how much weight they've gained, but how much fat they have in their body. Here's why. In case you didn't know it, you're drinking, breathing, eating chemicals every single day. And as your body, as they come into our body, which we can't stop, the body, to protect you, takes the chemical and stuffs it in your fat cell. That's why. Now, here's another thing. Don't believe this big lie that you can burn fat. No such thing. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and your fat cells expand or contract over your lifetime. Look at her waist, everybody, on day 1, and look at her waist and hips on day 30. That's with no exercise allowed. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Now, don't panic. They're not against exercise. But for purposes of these studies, they had to eliminate exercise. Otherwise, you would have said, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. Although diet and exercise has never been proven long-term as a long-term strategy to lose weight anyway. So that wouldn't have worked. So they proved it. Now, so not only did they prove that this is detoxing the body through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, they saw that, like I said, insulin came down 41%. Now, here's one of the things they couldn't measure until a few years ago. Inflammation, which we all suffer from. It's the underlying cause of every disease out there. It came down 25% in 30 days. No one's ever seen anything like this. So those aches and pains, the stiffness, all that, boom, gone. Hunger came down 40% in a month. The diabetics on this, it was so dramatic that the diabetics, like Curtis here, he's a diabetic. Not only did his A1C, you can see it there, lab work. Look, A1C 8.4 to 6.4. They had to cut his meds by 50%. All the diabetics, basically, their doctors did it, cut their they were over-medicated. And we're not against drugs, so don't hear me say that. This works in conjunction with, not a substitute for. But we've got people with no thyroids. We have people with heart transplant, kidney transplant, people with no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases, so don't hear that. It's not some medical cure. If anybody's getting you healthy, it's your own body. Responding to what? These massive amounts of nutrients, nutrition, in smaller quantities of food. That, if you wanted to know why does it work, how does it work, that's it. But here's the other really important part about this. She's now kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. Everybody you're looking at there has been able to keep the weight off. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago, and I've kept it off for 23 years. What's so sad is the number of people that come on and can't even wait 2 or 3 minutes to find out that this could change the rest of their life. They're going to go back to these miserable diets. Can anybody put in the chat a diet you think works long term? There's no medical evidence to support that. So, no, Smitch, you're wrong. Okay, Smitch, you're just wrong. Diet and exercise has never been proven long term as a weight loss strategy. Sorry to tell you that. See, that's the problem. We're hung up on these things, but there's no medical background behind it. She lost, look at that, she lost 20, they were not allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. And now, of course you can exercise, but for purposes of this, otherwise then you'd be false narrative. Oh, that was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. They didn't exercise. That's the point. Of course, I work out twice a week. I have a trainer. I mean, hello. Of course. But I'm just saying that's why this is so significant. Now, if you exercise, I'll show you some pictures of people that exercise. You won't even believe their results. They're so crazy good. So no, please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. For purposes of these studies, there was no exercise. Okay? Let's see, what else? Ideal protein is, no, this is not ideal protein. An ideal protein, okay, let me give you an all lesson about protein, and this is going to blow your minds. Protein itself, the actual protein is like a walnut shell. And yet we can't live without protein, not because of the protein itself, believe it or not. There's a new analysis out of, well, it's not that new, it's about 10 years ago. In Europe, they developed a new analysis called net nitrogen utilization. It's a fancy word. When you ingest protein, you get two numbers. First one, the absorption of the protein. That's what you're all hanging on. Like I said, an egg, the absorption of the protein in an egg is around 95%, right? But believe it or not, that doesn't mean anything to your body. The only reason we ingest protein, now this will blow some of your minds. As a matter of fact, if you go to my TikTok, at the New Health Conversation, I posted a 10-minute reel on this. It has 117,000 views so far in 3 weeks. 117,000. It's called the protein myth, which I'm explaining to you right now. The only reason you ingest protein is not for the protein itself, but for what's in the protein, and those are called amino acids. There's 9 essential. You have to have them or you pretty much wouldn't be alive, and 11 non-essential. Now here's where the ideal protein, this stuff is all nonsense, right? When they did the analysis, for example, of plant-based proteins, the absorption, or it's called the utilization. So let's clarify the two. You ingest a protein, almost all the protein is, okay, now the body can absorb it. But the body then has to break it down into the amino acids. That's called net nitrogen utilization. And plant-based proteins, the utilization of the aminos is only 15%. I know it's going to make vegans mad. It's just reality. All animal proteins, including steak, chicken, liver, fish, etc., are at 30%. Now, something like a protein shake, like an ideal protein, believe it or not, the absorption is between 5 and 8%. The researchers found a source where the utilization, let me clarify, the utilization of the amino acids was 91%. That's why another reason they didn't want them to exercise. They all, instead of losing any lean muscle on this protocol, they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Now, certainly you can exercise. I'll show you 2 examples of people who exercise, and you can see what happens. But you've got to understand the main reason to do this, that no diet could ever touch this, is detoxification. It also lowered inflammation by 25%. No diet's ever done anything like this. And again, the thing that, instead of me giving you an opinion, it's published in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world. So opinions, they're out the window. They don't matter. You can give me whatever opinion you want, but the medical proof is there and published in these major medical journals. As a matter of fact, this protocol, one of the journals it was published in, I have it here in my hand, called the Obesity Journal, which is the #1 journal for obese people in the world. When this got published back in 2024, about a year and a half ago, it is now the #1 downloaded weight loss study in the world, #1. So I didn't invent this, so don't think I'm pitching something I invented. And there are no products to buy. That's the other thing that's so cool about this. There are no products. But you're not going to show me any diet that ever could line up with this. It's not true. So she lost 20. Look at Julie, everybody, 35 pounds in 37 days. No exercise. Look at her body. Look at that. No exercise. Why? Because she's detoxing. And when you detox, what the body's doing, it's helping the body remove the chemicals stored inside your fat cells. They're called obesogens. You can look it up. That's what the medical world calls the chemicals inside your fat cells. I don't care if you think you're in shape and you're thin, you still have chemicals stored in your body. It's called the body's toxic burden. Because we're all breathing, drinking, eating, even if you think you're eating perfect. No, you're breathing in the fumes from the coal-fired power plants in China from 2 weeks ago. This is really the answer. And then look at this guy, 65 years old, 40 pounds and 52.5 inches in third. But look at his lab work. A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30. No diet's ever produced anything like this. And lowering inflammation by 25% and removing toxins from his body and he's not diabetic. His need for insulin went down 41% in a month, and the doctors had to cut his meds by 50% in 30 days. Not us. We didn't have anything to do with it. It's not our research. We're bringing you the research, and there's no products to buy. And we coach people for free. It says right here, look, free coaching. That means free coaching. You've never done anything like this before. And the researchers who created this, by the way, they've worked with Navy SEALs and Green Berets and Olympians and power lifters and CrossFit people and triathletes, etc. So they're not against exercise. But in purposes of this study, they had to prove that what would happen if the body was able to detox. Tremendously great things. Energy, less stress, sleeping better at night, mental fog gone, usually in a few days. Now, the researchers also developed for their patients in the studies the blueprint for success. These yellows here are daily videos from the researchers, not from us, explaining to you why it works, and they have no products to sell. Let me say that again. The people who invented this are scientists, nutrition, they're the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And with all due respect, anybody coming on here giving me an opinion, sorry, unless you have a peer-reviewed human trial study, it's conversation, but it doesn't mean anything in the medical world. So you can either choose to follow these influencers that you see with not one shred of medical evidence. Why would you do that? Why would you entrust your health, your weight loss to someone giving you opinions? That's all they're doing. I don't give opinions. I don't want you to believe me. But on the website, there's nothing to buy on that website. Missy, I'm interested. Tell me more, Missy. So Missy, I'm going to do it for everybody now. I'm going to repeat. How did she do what she did? Now, remember, I started out, I don't know if any of you saw this. Imagine losing 20, 30, or 40 pounds safely in 30 days. So let's see now this is all backed and published in the 10 biggest medical journals in the world for all of you. Look at this. So Kristen lost 21.2 pounds in 30 days. By the way, she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. All the pictures I'm showing you, they've been able to maintain it, which is one of the best reasons to do this. Okay, and then April, she lost, Julie. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. So she lost 30 pounds in a month because she lost, you can see that. I mean, you realize that average, 5 weeks, she averaged about 7 pounds a week. You tell me. And then look at this 65-year-old man, 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days with no exercise. No one was allowed to exercise. Again, I'm going to say, of course, they're not against exercise. But if you think diet and exercise works long term, how in the hell do we have projections now in 4 years, Johns Hopkins Medical School, that 86% of you are going to be obese or overweight? So let's talk about what they actually did, because I know everybody's impatient and they can only, their attention span. But my God, this could change the rest of your life. This will take me 2 or 3 minutes to explain it to you. The researchers who invented this are rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They had done 100 studies on human beings, not mice, rats, etc., over 40 years, thousands of people. And they concluded no diet ever worked long-term, and 2/3 of everybody who went on any diet they ever studied gained more weight than they lost. That's why when people come on and want to give me opinions, don't give me an opinion. It's just, I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I don't care, because unless you have peer-reviewed human trial studies, it means zero. It doesn't mean anything. So what they concluded after 40 years, 100 studies failed every time, every diet. They said here it is. The secret to this was really pretty simple. The human body doesn't count calories, doesn't care about calories, doesn't even know what a calorie is. The only thing your body cares about are 3 things: air, water, and not calories, nutrition. So the basis of this was that can we, the researchers, find foods with the highest level of nutrition, but not necessarily the highest amount of food? That was it. So they first, 30% of what she consumed and you would consume, you actually would get a grocery list. Obviously the grocery list is free from our coaches, because it says right there, free coaching. The coaches will give you the list. You take it to your grocery store. So whatever you spent last month on your total food bill, only 30% you're going to spend this month, and you're going to have a list that's proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, but not calories. No calorie counting, only serving sizes. Very important. So 30% of the food she consumed, you'd buy at your local grocery store, all organic. You'd have the list showing you the serving sizes that they want. So if it's a protein, it's how many ounces. If it was vegetables, is it a third or half a cup? It's all laid out. You don't have to guess. They figured it out for you. The top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. I think I'm going to listen to them. But the other 70% of the food that she consumed didn't come from your grocery store. You can't buy it at your grocery store. It came from other researchers who had gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Cambodia, Nepal and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, to find these foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Keep in mind, you buy nothing from us. You buy nothing from the researchers. 30% of whatever you spent last month, you're going to spend at your grocery store, about 30% of it this month. The other 70% is going to buy these exotic foods from around the world, which you buy directly from those suppliers, not from us. We don't sell you anything, okay? Now they had the two food groups. Well, you think, oh, they got it made. No. Then they invented a new way of eating, and they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, this new way of eating called protein pacing. What the heck does that mean? Well, 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. She started with these, by the way, the researchers called these foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. There's so much nutrition in these foods from these faraway exotic locations that unless you're on a doctor's prescription for iron deficiency or calcium deficiency, you don't need any supplements at all, according to the top researchers in the world, who don't sell anything. So it's not like they're pushing their product. They don't have any products to sell, right? So breakfast is the world's most perfect meal. Lunch from your grocery store list that you would have, dinner from your grocery store list, and a fourth meal after dinner from the world's most perfect meal. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store. This is going to flip you out. Only these world's most perfect meals. But this time she ate, and you would eat 8 times a day. You're eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. The diabetics on this, there were no insulin spikes. But here gets into the real medical proof now. This is what separates it from any diet out there. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis, enzymes, muscle composition, body composition studies. The first thing that they proved, this is removing chemicals from your body, specific from your fat cells. If you look at her waist on day 1, see the bloating there, and then look at day 30 with no exercise allowed. They actually wear Fitbits to prove no sit-ups, no crunches, no going to the gym, no, absolutely not. Because they needed to prove, otherwise you would have said, what was diet and exercise? No, it wasn't. It had nothing to do with it. It was this protocol. So the number one reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's a throw-in. We know that's going to happen, okay? It's to detoxify your body. Now, lest any of you think you don't have this, this is a new medical syndrome. You probably have never heard of it, called TDOS. The T is for toxicity, the D is for nutritional deficiency, the O is for being overweight, the S is for stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, of a new medical syndrome. Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, that's me. I did discover it. That's not why I'm telling you. The medical evidence is overwhelming that we're all storing chemicals inside our fat cells, even if you think you're thin. There was a big study called Just Because You're Thin Doesn't Mean You're Healthy. So when they did MRIs on these really fit people, they found around the brain, the kidney, the liver, the heart, breast tissue, prostate, and men, this white halo of this toxic fat. And although it didn't show up on the outside, it showed up on the inside. Do you understand that none of these diets ever talk about body composition, ever? There's not one study that ever shows that. And the studies that are out there are pitiful. Let me give you a couple of examples of other, well, let me finish on this. So not only did insulin, well, by the way, the need for insulin on this in a month came down 41%, not 4%, 41%. And the diabetics monitored by their doctors, the doctors across the board cut their medication need by 50% in 30 days. The last thing, not the last thing, but the other critical part about this is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. This makes every diet obsolete. The sad part is most of you are going to go back and follow these influences on keto or paleo or this ridiculous time-restricted eating where supposedly you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8. It's a complete and just a total hoax. I've got the proof right here. I'll give you just one of several big studies now on this time-restricted eating where you don't eat for 16 hours and eat for 8. This is the Journal of the American Medical Association, one of the top 5 medical journals in the world. They did this study 3 months. This is what they said. Our researchers found that time-restricted eating over the course of 3 months, the participants gained almost no benefit from it. Over the course of that 3-month study, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the weight they lost was lean muscle mass, not fat, as they're claiming. There's no such thing as burning fat, number one. Let's just talk about that. You don't burn fat on a diet, and you don't burn fat going to the gym. Your fat cells, you're born with this. You can look it up. Go Google it yourself. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and they can expand or contract over your lifetime. So any of the fitness trainers that like want to take me on and I don't know what I'm talking about, Google it yourself. Learn something. I wouldn't expect you. I didn't know it. I'm a researcher. I found it out. What? I always thought that, running and being on the treadmill, I mean, a long, long time ago, I was a ski racer. I live in Colorado. I tried out for the Olympics. At one point, I was, pretty much trying out for the Olympics. You're pretty up there. So obviously, I'm running and doing all this stuff. And then I realized that my body has no idea what a calorie even is. So you have a chance to change the rest of your lives if that's what you want to do. So Missy, does that make sense to you? Missy, Joan Backus, Sam, Diamond Girl, 1962. So let's look at some of the other people and what they did. Okay, the world's most perfect meal, trademark. So we have to find. No one, you don't have to do anything. You don't do anything. We don't have anything to sell. You want this result? Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you trying to tell me you have something where you can lose 21 pounds in a month with no exercise and gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass and detoxify your body? What would it be? I'd love to know, because there are no medical studies out there published ever seen anything like this, period. Robert, hello, Robert. So no one, Sandy's pack, let's see, come on, tell about the nutrition. I just did. So does everybody understand, come on, tell about the nutrition plan itself? Well, it's more than just a nutrition plan, number one, and hopefully, does that make sense to everybody? Now look, everybody, you also can go and see a much more detailed explanation if you want. Go to Google, type in the new health conversation, you'll see it there in just a moment. And it'll take you to the link on Google, and then there's the link, click on it, and then there's the website. There's nothing to buy on the website. The only thing on the website is the medical proof, including number one is a podcast with the number one weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, and number three, the actual published studies. You can go and see them yourselves. We're not fooling around here because we don't have anything to sell you. Hello? We're educating you. Hopefully, you do whatever you want to do. If you think you have some diet that's going to work, you're flying in the face of the medical evidence. I mean, another big study over here. I mean, well, here's what the major researchers now saying about calorie counting, just so you all understand all these diets that you're on. The deadly delusion of calorie counting. Abandon calories in, calories out now. This is from the world experts. Calories in, calories out is a dangerous fraud. This is what they're saying. The body completely ignores calories, which are merely a lab-invented unit of energy with no corresponding biological sensor or mechanism. Instead, the body craves essential air, water, and nutrition to function, where hunger acts as a signal for nutrient deficiencies, not calorie deficiencies, rendering calorie tracking not just ineffective, but a harmful distraction that perpetuates obesity cycles and dieting failures. So go on your diet and count calories. Why? Why would you do that when you've even got people, I have it here somewhere. Let me find it. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The authors reviewed long-term studies of outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. That's not my opinion. That's Medicare. People want to get mad at me or argue with me. We're bringing you the science for free on this website right here. On this website, the new health conference. It's free for you to go there. We will not contact you if you go to that website, by the way. The only way we'll contact you is if you contact us, and then it's free coaching. Guess how much the coaching is, everybody? $0. I see people trying to sell you recipes, then you get a coach. Recipes? What do you think that's going to do? There's no evidence behind that. It sounds interesting, and they'll show you before and afters of people losing weight. They have no medical proof behind it, none, $0. And to give you an idea, one of the things it's a big myth right now. They're talking about well, any diet, but let's talk about this time-restricted eating, where you fast for 16 hours and you don't for 8. This big study was a compilation. They looked at pretty much all the diets across that were available in the world. The grand myth of traditional diets, a devastating cycle of failure and false promises. This was a 12-month study where they looked at and they analyzed low-fat diets, low-carb diets, keto diets, carnivore diets, macro counting, and time-restricted eating. This just fast for 16, eat for 8. What's the real numbers in a year? In 12 months, the least amount of weight loss on any of these diets, whether it was low-fat, low-carb, keto, carnivore, macro counting, time-restricted eating, was 11 pounds. The most amount of weight loss in a year was 16 pounds. And time-restricted eating, people lost between 10 and 14 pounds in a year. In a year. She lost 21 pounds in a month. What are you all doing? Now, you may have lost more weight on some of these diets initially. Then it comes back. Because what they never tell you is 25 to 40% of the pounds you're losing on any of these diets is your lean muscle mass. Period. What are you all doing? And yet you could change your lives if you decide. Go to the New Health Conversation, look at the medical proof. We won't contact you. And then scroll down to get a coach if that's what you want to do. We have nothing to sell you. We got coached. We believe it's our obligation. We have people that volunteer to become coaches. We got medical doctors and RNs and physician's assistants and dietitians and nutritionists and fitness and weight loss people because they've experienced it themselves or someone else told them about it, then they did it and had this life-changing experience. So, touch canoe. I have no idea what that means. Jamie. It's suppliers, plural, number one. And the coaches, they'll go over all that with you. Because you got to understand, it's not just about that you buy in the foods. No, and it won't do you any good. You need, for example, to get this, this is what the research, this is what they use in the medical studies. These are daily videos from them. But you also have a live coach. The coaching's free. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. It sounds like, you know, if you have a different answer, go for it. We're not here to convince you, twist your arm. Forget that. This is not about you buying food and then you're going to solve this. It's not about a recipe. People, they're telling you get recipes to lose weight. We're going to have 86% of America overweight and obese in 4 years. Do you think that sounds like anything is working? If, in fact, time-restricted eating worked, they'd have $1 trillion company. Ask it. Go to Barnes & Noble. Look at how many diets. And then go and look at the mall. Go to the beach if you're still lucky enough to be on vacation, at least in North America. Well, I guess around the world. I guess most of the kids are back to school already. I forgot that. I mean, we don't have enough time to try and convince or sell people. That's why we created a free medical website. There are, for example, I've written 4 best-selling books. There's no books on there. We're not selling books. And to give you another piece of proof, okay? This is, everyone, the #1 women's magazine in the world called Women's World. The cover, those 2 women, I coach both of them. The daughter is a nurse, 57 years old, 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who turns 81 in October, lost 104 pounds in a year, and they both kept it off for 3 years. You don't get on the cover of Women's World magazine if it's some kind of scam. It has nothing to do with us because we didn't invent it. But the magazine did a whole news story on this because it's so revolutionary. I mean, here's a 2-page article, 2 pages, New Protein Miracle Diet. I mean, this is crazy good. Let me show you a couple. I'll show you the other part about this that's so great. Look at Michael and Sheila. He lost 15 pounds in 11 days. She lost 10 pounds in 11 days. But look what they went on to do. They both lost over 60 pounds in 5 months, and they kept it off for 2.5 years. Any of you going to equal that? Look at the before and after. Now, you can think it's photoshopped. It's not. And they've kept it off for 2.5 years. You showing me any diet like this? What would it be? This is not a diet. I mean, again, look at a 65-year-old man. So where is he? Curtis. 40 pounds in a month, everyone. 52. But look at his blood work. His A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. Look at his stomach. And he's kept it off for 8 or 9 years, and he wasn't allowed to exercise. Now, I know there was some exercise people on here. Let me go real fast because I do have to go here in a minute. I'm going to just show you one picture, 11 days of an athlete. This person lives in Costa Rica, a surfer from the United States, works out 7 days a week. Did not do this to lose weight. You talk about exercise, you want to see something dramatic. This is 11 days, by the way. Look at day 1, you can see really pretty good shape. And then look at day 5, that's the morning of day 5, so it's 4 days in. And then look at day 12, the morning of day 12, 11 days in. Look at that transformation, everybody. That is not Photoshopped. I had a fitness trainer tell me, well, the lighting's different. I know this person. That's my youngest son. He's 43 years old. Look at that. You think diet and exercise? But again, and then this gentleman here who had to lose weight and he exercised, lost 50 pounds in 4 months. Actually lost more than that because he gained about 10 pounds of lean muscle. Look at the transformation, everybody. But he was detoxing his body. That's the number one thing. But look at the lean muscle development. So of course you can exercise on this. But don't be deluded thinking somehow diet and exercise on their own with any other protocol has ever produced long-term results or any of these medical results that I've showed all of you. Fast, Jamie Biddick, fasting doesn't work. There's not one shred of evidence beyond 22 hours. The only thing you're losing is your lean muscle mass. You can look it up. See, that's all the misconceptions out there. Because a fast, again, a water fast, you're getting no nutrition. Your brain freaks out, goes in starvation mode, immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cells and turns to your muscles for fuel. It's not an opinion on my part, okay? Jamie, this is the dog water that's going out the window. And I know people do, 30-day fast but I'm just telling you, the results are 40% of what they're losing, the numbers on the scale, is lean muscle mass, one of the most unhealthy things. So you're making yourself unhealthy, by the way, long-term, doing that. Do whatever you want to do. We're not here to convince you. But you might want to listen to the world's top weight loss. Right there, visit the New Health Conversation. See, the problem is, Jamie, that's an opinion. But the medical proof says otherwise. If it was that simple, then everybody just go on a water fast and we wouldn't have we're looking at 86% of America being overweight and obese in 4 years. 4 years. If you don't think that's an apocalypse, what would be? So who else would like to ask me a question? Anybody else? Okay, well, I'm going to end this podcast right now. And I might be back on air around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. I've got a really busy morning. I got to go. I got a bunch of errands I need to run. But hopefully, listen, I'm going to leave you with this. Right above our head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. I promise you on my kids' lives, my grandkids' lives, if you go there, we're not going to contact you. We don't do that. We don't need to. But if you go there and you like what you see, excuse me, you can scroll down, you get a coach for free. They'll explain everything to you. They don't just do your consultation for free. They'll coach you the whole time for free. And I mean, it sounds too good to be true. And what's the catch? There's no catch. By the way, I should have told you that, no one. Those exotic foods from those, suppliers, during the first 30 days, that's the exotic foods you're buying from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. They'll give you 100% of your money back guarantee in the first month if it doesn't work. I don't know what else to tell you other than that. That's not happening on keto, paleo, Mediterranean. You're still buying food from your grocery store. So 30% of this, you're not going to get a refund from your grocery store. But the other 70%, if it doesn't work, you get all your money back. So where's your risk? And you get a free coach? You show me anything else like that. What would it be? You've got to understand there's no sustainability on any of these diets, including fasting. It doesn't exist. Everybody gains all their weight back. The same thing with the shots. I should just cover that briefly. And we're not against the shots. They're helping diabetics and they're helping people that are morbidly obese. So this is the New England Journal of Medicine. You all can go look at it, the GLP-1s. This was a 68-week study. That's a year and 4 months. Titled Once Weekly Semaglutide in Adults Overweight or Obese. In 68 weeks, the weight loss was 32 pounds and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. So it took him 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. He lost 40 pounds in a month. Which would you choose? We're not making any endorsement or belittling. Those are the medical facts. New England Journal of Medicine, arguably one of the 1 or 2 biggest medical journals in the world. They're saying 68 weeks, 32 pounds, 40% was lean muscle mass, and they said that's a good outcome. I'm going with Curtis here. So anybody, any last questions before I end this right now? Maybe some of you are happy that I did. I understand I'm shaking you up and you don't maybe like what I'm telling you, but science has no emotions, unlike me. It has no opinions, it just is. And this is the only documented, published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. This will make every diet you've ever been on completely obsolete, which they should be. It's a miserable failure. We got 2.5 billion people worldwide now that are overweight, and 1 billion of those 2.5 billion are clinically obese. Do you think diets work? I mean, you can think whatever you want to think. I get that. We're not here to convince you. We have nothing to sell you. You're buying food and you have a new way of eating, and you can see it all at the New Health Conversation for free. We're giving you a free medical website. So that's it, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye for now. I invite all of you to go to the New Health Conversation if that's what you want to do. And then get a free coach, and they'll go over everything that you want to do. How do you get the list sheet? John, right there. John, do you see the New Health Conversation? John, you don't just get a list, you get a free coach. It's more than just a list, because the list, 30% is what you're going to buy from your grocery store. The other 70%, the coaches, you don't buy from them. They'll show you how to order directly from the researchers who created this, and then they'll coach you the whole time for free. John, it's not about giving you a recipe, for example. That's nonsense. If you want these kind of results, John, just tell me this. A 65-year-old man, 40 pounds in a month, 52 inches. Look at his blood work, A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides 242 to 124 in a month, in 30 days with no exercise. Think it works? Yeah. All right, everybody, I've got to sign off now. Goodbye, and hopefully I'll come back on around 2 Eastern time today. Thank you all.